Hi, pretty black girl. So let's talk about leveling up as a woman of color. I have to announce that this is kind of a new branch slash direction slash shift in the channel. I wanted to try something new and I also want to talk about different types of things, but it's going to be called Let's Talk About, and of course, following the topic that I'll be talking about. It's kind of like a little chit chat where I talk about different things. So, life in general, the good and the bad, unpopular opinions, friendships, family, and more. And I kind of would like to engage you as subscribers a lot more and ask questions of what you would like to hear, be much more engaging with you because I'm really curious what you would like to hear from me and what you would like me to talk about. And that way, I feel like we can engage more with each other. And that is just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy hearing your different opinions. I don't only want to talk about pretty privilege. I do think that topic is absolutely fascinating, something that I personally go through. But of course, we're still human, regardless of looking beautiful and having pretty privilege. We deal with other things in life and lessons that life has taught us overall. And I would like to talk about that because that is absolutely important. So, 8 days ago, I asked you as my subscribers what topics you would like me to talk about on this channel. And one of the top comments that had the most likes was from A Focused Living. Shout out to you. Um, and she said, I'd love to see a video encouraging women of color to focus more on their personal growth and journey rather than getting caught up in comparing themselves to other races. Thank you so much for this comment, A Focused Living. Shout out to you. And I think this is absolutely a valid point for so many reasons. I think at times, as women of color, we try to compare ourselves to white women, and I think this can be a toxic mindset because, as they say, comparison is a thief of joy. And everyone has a different journey, everyone has a different life path, everyone has different types of stories. You go through different experiences in life, and I don't think it is important to or necessary to compare yourself to other people because we all have a different story, we all have different ways we grew up. And what I want to say first and foremost, a way to level up as a woman of color is accepting that you are a woman of color. That is, I think, the first and most important thing is to accept that you are a woman of color. And of course, depending on where you live, you may or may not face challenges because of the fact that you are a woman of color. Unfortunately, we live in a society where people are prejudiced against others, regardless of what type of background they have, regardless of their ethnicity, their race, their gender. We know we live in an unfair society, unfair world. So, but I think that it's very important to accept that you are a woman of color. Some of us get caught up with this idea and emphasis on some. What if I were a white woman? What if I were this or that? And I think that that is such a toxic mindset because there's no point in saying what if when you can never be that person. You can never change the fact that you are a woman of color. Of course, you can go through procedures, but I'm just talking about in general. Most people will not be able to change their race, generally speaking. So there's no need in saying things that you're not going to be able to change at the end of the day. So accept the fact that you are a woman of color. And the second point I would like to make is to learn to love yourself. I think this is extremely vital. Maybe it may be the first thing that you should, um, I guess, try to embrace. But I said accepting that you are a woman of color is, I think, the first thing because when you accept something, it is easier for you to love yourself that way. That's why it's in that order. But The second prompt is learning to love yourself. And I think you can do this by giving yourself words of affirmations. I think this is really important because when you give yourself words of affirmation, you're kind of giving yourself this positive mindset, and it can shift the way you think about yourself. Even though you don't believe in what you're saying, once you start saying those words, automatically you start believing in it. That's just how our brain functions. Also, I think what is important is to learn more about your cultural background. You know, we all have different types of backgrounds. I don't know, maybe you are part Asian, you're black, whatever your background is, learn more about your cultural background and learn to embrace that part of you, because it is extremely beautiful to have, for example, maybe you might be mixed race, you are black and Asian, or you are a black woman, or you are an Asian woman. It is important to embrace that you are different and that it's totally acceptable and fine to have differences and to be different and to look different. Also, I think what comes into part is having healthy habits. Once you start eating well, this reminds me of that Britney Spears meme. Are you eating well? Are you drinking well? No, but really, I think eating well and drinking enough, as I say this, I'm going to drink my water. But I think it is important to eat well, drinking enough, and also having healthy relationships, whether that is with family, or your friends, or your partners. Try to create healthy habits because this can make loving yourself a lot more easier. Also, appreciating your unique features. I've heard enough women of color kind of comparing themselves to white women when it comes to their facial features, because I do think that most of us have our ethnic distinct features that make us look the way we look like, because obviously our ancestors come from other parts than Europe. And we have this distinct look. It can make us look very unique, and I think it makes us look very beautiful. And of course, it can be hard to accept that you look different, but I think looking different is only something that you should be proud of and be extremely grateful for it, because those features are features that are beautiful to you and they are special. So I think appreciating your unique features is definitely something that you should embrace. And also, another thing that comes into part is I can have it all mindset. And I'm going to explain what I mean by I can have it all mindset. So, I personally grew up with parents, especially a dad, who told me that I could have it all. And my dad would tell me I could have it all regardless of my skin color, ethnicity, or race. You know, I grew up in different places around the world, mainly in Europe, and I would travel a lot as a kid, which meant that I had to learn a different language. And I struggled with that because I always thought, you know, I was not born here. I was literally born in Spain. And now I come to this new country and I have to adapt to their culture, adapt to so many different things. And at the time, it was hard in the beginning because I had to make new friends, of course. And I did come to a point where I started to struggle to learn how to speak a language because I was like, I was not even born here and I am not from this country and I have to learn how to speak this language and I'm struggling. And my dad would always tell me that it doesn't matter. You can do it, and you should believe in yourself and that you are able to speak this language. And I am so grateful for that advice that my dad gave to me, because now I am able to speak the Dutch language fluently to the point where people are asking me, were you born here? And that to me is just the power of having the I can have it all mindset can really shift your reality, can shift your life in so many ways. And if you believe in things, if you kind of have to encourage yourself and brainwash yourself even into thinking that you are able to do this and to even be delusional about things. And really, actually, just being delusional about things can make you get ahead in so many things in life. So being delusional is not bad at all. Be delusional and stay delusional. Well, you do have to be somewhat aware, but you get what I mean, right? But I think that having an I can have it all mindset really is so important. And I'm extremely grateful for my parents, my dad, my mom encouraging me that no matter what my background was, that I could still be successful. And also showing up for yourself. Um, Want to start a YouTube channel? Do it. Want to do modeling? Do it. Want to start a business? Do it. Want to become a teacher? Do it. Want to become, I don't know, an engineer? Do it. You have to show up for yourself. If you want something, go work for it. Go get it. And I'm not saying you need to, you don't always need to work hard for things. Sometimes you just have to work smart. But if you want something, go for it. And I think it's very important to show up for yourself, because that shows that you love yourself so much so that you want to show up for yourself and do the things that you truly want. You know, a goal without action is just a thought. So if you are just thinking about things and you have so many goals, but you're not putting even a little effort goes a long way. You don't have to put these extreme amount of hard work into things. I think especially nowadays where we have so much access to the internet and we have so much access to resources, it is a lot more easier for us to uh, make it, for lack of better words. We can do things and become successful at it without even a ton of effort. When you look back in time in the 1800s, for example, people had to work really, really hard to get somewhere in society. But I think nowadays, especially if you're young, you have some sort of talent, you have beauty, or you are able to articulate yourself, you can get a lot. And I absolutely encourage you who are watching to start a YouTube channel. There's absolutely something that you're passionate about and that you can talk about for hours. And you probably are just thinking about that in your mind, but you could instead say it out loud, make other people hear it, encourage other people, and not only other people, but you encourage yourself. And not only do you encourage yourself, but you are truly just living your life passionate about something that you like to talk about, and you can make money off it. So make your YouTube channel, go chase your dreams, go do what you really want to do. And also, another thing is to be consistent with your goals, and don't aim for perfection. Um, I would often make the mistake of wanting things to be perfect. That's just as young as I could, as young as I was. I remember that I really always wanted to have things perfectly. I just wanted to. Everything had to be perfect in my eyes, and my way, it had to be perfect. And I think perfection is understandable, but it can be your biggest downfall. Because when you're constantly aiming for perfection, I think people that are perfectionists really don't think it's ever perfect enough. So someone may tell you that this what you did right here, it's perfect. It literally is perfect. But for you, in your eyes, it's never perfect. And that's the problem with perfectionism, is that you always strive for something to be more perfect and more perfect. It's never enough. So that's why perfectionism, I think, is really quite toxic. I mean, it can be good in a way, but overall, if you look at the whole picture, it stresses you out. And if you're a perfectionist watching this, doesn't it stress you? It probably does, right? So I would want to have things perfect. And I want to tell you that it will never be perfect, as I've mentioned. And of course, you may argue, well, if I have a 10, if I get a 10 at school as a grade, then technically it is perfect. You could argue that way. But let me give you an example. I always wanted to have perfect grades. That was just, I guess, something that you grow up with as someone that grew up in a Nigerian household, Nigerian Biafran household. I always like to claim that part of mine because my dad is extremely proud of that side. So I always rep that. Um, and we, as if you're a Nigerian watching this, you probably know that grades are really important. Education is number one in almost every Nigerian household. I would want to say every Nigerian household, to be honest, but I don't know every Nigerian around the world. But we are very, very strict when it comes to our education. So I always wanted to have perfect grades to the point where I would even neglect my health. I know that's a little bit TMI, but I would, for example, just start studying the moment that I woke up, or brush my teeth, and the next thing I'll do, study. Not even take any breakfast, have any breakfast or whatsoever. Just start studying and neglect my health, study for hours and hours, and even neglect, skip meals. Sorry, again, TMI. But I had to bring this shift, and I had to be consistent with my health and mindset. So I shifted my mentality. Instead of aiming for perfectionism by studying so hard to get a perfect grade, I shifted it. I was like, I am going to focus on my health. I'm going to focus on having the right mindset. And what I mean by focusing on my health is actually eating meals throughout the day, actually drinking enough water, feeding my mindset with positive things, and affirming myself even more and more, journaling, meditating, and doing things that make me feel good and make me feel pumped up and really ready for the day. Even this YouTube channel is part of what makes my mindset filled with positivity, because I really like encouraging you as the watcher, and I just like talking overall and yapping, and it makes me feel at ease, it makes me feel more confident, and I would even say that I really think that it has made me even more confident when it comes to speaking in public. So I became more consistent when it came to my health and mindset, and the result is I even got better grades. So me not worrying as much about my grades and being less perfectionist made me get even better results. So I think that perfectionism, I get it, because you want to have things perfect, but it can absolutely be your downfall. And you have to learn to not always have things perfect, because sometimes things that aren't perfect can absolutely turn out, quote unquote, perfect, if you get what I mean. Because I remember, for example, some of the videos that I have posted without putting so much effort have had the most views and have had the most engagement. And I barely put any effort in it. I was just like, I'm just going to post it. I'm just going to post it. I don't mind it being perfect. Just going to post it. And yeah, and it resulted in becoming really successful. That's, to me, it was extremely successful. So yeah, that's that. And another point that I wanted to make is to be confident, or fake it till you make it. Overall, I can say that I'm quite a confident person, but with a confident person, of course, comes times where you don't feel as confident, and that makes us human. That makes us people. We are not always feeling our best or performing at our best. But I'd say even then, I still fake it till I make it, because you will not catch me slipping. Honestly, I think that's one of my, I guess, I don't know if it's a bad or good trait, but I'll never show that I'm insecure when it comes to something. I just don't like showing that. I'd rather just be insecure in my room and figure that out, figure my thoughts out, and uh, deal with it on my own than to show it out in public with people that I don't know. That's something that I really wouldn't do. Maybe probably with friends, being I'm quite vulnerable when it comes to my close friends, but I really am not that type, where I show my insecurities out in the public. And I know sometimes emotions can gather up and you can feel really overwhelmed and you really just not show, I guess, the best version of yourself in public. But I always, I fear that I show the best part of myself in public. Um, I don't know. It's just I keep my composure, and of course, at times I don't feel as confident, but I at least fake it. And you might want to say that you're fake. Well, you can say that, but that's just how I think I should go about life. Fake it till you make it. And you may want to ask, you may ask, but how? How do you fake it till you make it when you don't even feel like faking it till you make it, or when you don't even feel confident. Well, I think one important thing is giving yourself self um, affirmation, words of affirmations. At times when I feel down and I don't feel really good about myself, or I just feel insecure about things, when I'm out and about and I'm just not feeling that well, I start to give myself words of affirmation. I can do this. I've got this. I'm beautiful. I'm confident. I start to kind of make a song out of it, in my head. And it makes me, you'll be surprised, but it really can do something. It can do something, and you won't believe it, but it truly can. It can shift your mindset, and then you start acting like those words that you're saying. I am beautiful. I am confident. You start acting like those words that you were affirming to yourself. So I truly think that being confident, or at least faking it, can make people think, have this perception of you that you've got it all. And I think for me, that's the way I want to go about life. I don't want people thinking that, oh, she's so insecure. That's just personally what I don't want to go through. And I think when you go show yourself out in the world and you are somewhat insecure, people start treating you in that way because they're like, she's insecure anyway, so I can just say anything to her and it's just gonna make her feel even more worse. But when you're confident, it's really quite hard for people to step on you, to be honest. It's hard for people to do it because it's like, she's confident, so I'm not gonna even try it. But that's just how I've experienced it so far. And I think it's very important for us as women of color, as I've mentioned. Let's go back to the points that I've mentioned. I think the first and foremost thing is to accept that you are a woman of color. You just have to accept it. You're a woman of color. There's nothing you can change about it. There's beauty in being a woman of color. We hold a lot of history and I think a lot of strength, and that's something we should extremely be proud of. And then learn how to love yourself. Learning how to love yourself is extremely vital. This can be in a form of giving yourself words of affirmation, learning more about your cultural background, having healthy habits, and creating healthy relationships, eating well, drinking enough, having good friendships, family, partners, and also appreciating your unique features, that you have these distinct, beautiful features of yours. This dark brown, big, beautiful eyes, this dark, beautiful hair, this beautiful eyes, almond eyes, you name it. Appreciate your different, unique features. And I can have it all mindset. I can have it all mindset can bring you in so many places uh, in the world, in society, can really make your life so much more better by having a positive mindset. At least you had that positive mindset. At least you tried. At least you believed in yourself. And also being consistent with your goals. Be consistent with your goals. If you have a goal, don't let that just be a thought. Take action. Take action, because then you actually are working towards your goals. And don't aim for perfection eventually. Perfectionism is not, it's truly just making you more stressed out, giving you more breakouts, and ultimately things are not perfect. So we aim for consistency. And the last point that I made was to be confident, or fake it till you make it. Because when you're confident, you kind of are telling yourself that you can do it, you've got this, and then you'll really just perform the best of the best you can, and it shows. So I think these are all the talking points that I wanted to make, and I think women of color, we are very beautiful and we have a lot of history. We go through issues in life, but ultimately I want us to level up and really just be the best versions of ourselves, and be proud of our heritage, be proud of where we come from. And I can only speak from a perspective as a woman of color, of course, because that's what I am. And this channel is by no way or no means discriminating white women, because I obviously have white friends that are really close to me. This sounds like a I have black friends too, but that's totally not it. I absolutely adore my white friends, and I have really close white friends. But I'm talking from personal perspective, and that is because I am a black woman. I am a woman of color, so that's the only perspective I can really talk from. And also, this was recommended by a subscriber, a focused living, and she wanted me to talk about this. And I think it is absolutely an important topic to speak about, because we women of color go through different things in society that, maybe our white peers may not go through. But ultimately, this channel is to absolutely encourage you as a woman, as a beautiful woman. And I just want you to feel confident, happy, and live your best life as you can. And I'm really excited for this new series, this new branch of the channel, this kind of new shift direction of the channel. I'm really curious if you guys are interested in this and what topics you would like me to talk about. Make sure you comment down below, and let's keep this a cute community, a community with women that are positive and beautiful and trying to level up regardless of your race. As I've mentioned, I'm speaking more of a personal perspective. So obviously, I mentioned you hear words like a black woman, woman of color, because that's what I am, that's what I speak from. But obviously, I want to hear from women that are not those things. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, stay beautiful.